Sean, good morning. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for taking some time for this interview.
No problem, Joachim. Lovely to see you. And how are you surviving North Shipping? It's a big show this week, isn't it?
It is, and it is tremendous. It's amazing to be here.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you.
Sean, with over 35 years in maritime communication, you have witnessed dramatic changes in our industry. What's the most significant transformation you've observed, and how has it shaped your approach at Elaborate Communications?
Well, it's funny actually when I've coming around North Shipping. I mean, I've been coming here since probably the late 80s, believe it or not. And in those days when I worked on Lloyd's of London Press, on magazines like Lloyd's Ship Manager, and then I was political editor on Lloyd's List and did 10 years there. You know, we're all on typewriters, you know, and we're ringing in copy. We were talking about it last night. And you know, but building up contacts, that was what we were taught to do. You know, go out and get that story. You know, go out and talk to the industry and really understand and get that story in time for the deadline. You know, they were the hard knocks that we had to go through to actually get the stories into the media. Now it's a lot easier now. We've got innovation, we've got AI, we've all got smartphones, and everybody's a reporter. You know, you see people snapping away, and everybody's on social media and what have you. But the one key thing is you've got to put all of this stuff into context. Because if you come along and you just take a 20-second video shot or something, what does it mean? You know, what are you trying to say? What are the implications of that particular thing? And I think that's really where the journalists and the media come in. And the media, if they're worth their salt, will actually come in and offer you know, that commentary, that opinion, putting it all into context. Because there's a lot happening in shipping at the moment. It's an incredibly vibrant and fast-moving industry at the moment. A lot happening, but you've also got things like geopolitics, you've got decarbonisation, you've got digitalisation, you've got new fuels, you've got new designs going on, but you've also got, as I said, with the geopolitics, you've got shifting trade lanes. You know, what are the massive implications for all of that? From the ports to the agents to the insurers to the dark fleet, and we're hearing about it in all the conferences, and really people are, you know, just scrabbling around. They want to know, they want to get an element of certainty. And I think that's the vital role that communications plays and the media plays. As I said, you know, there's a lot of people out there snapping away and what have you. It's about putting it into context. That's the key thing.
The London International Shipping Week is celebrating its 12th anniversary this year in September 2025. What is your vision for how the London International Shipping Week will address the current challenges facing maritime professionals, and particularly around decarbonization and digital transformation?
Well, the theme that we chose for LISW25, London International Shipping Week, is you know, London managing the winds of change in global shipping, because the winds of change are there. It's changing very quickly. And the one key thing that we're going to have during the week, we're going to have over 35,000 top industry decision makers, regulators, governments, and all aspects of the shipping industry spectrum, from the insurers and the arbitrators and the lawyers and what have you, coming in and debating these key issues of decarbonisation, as I said, and geopolitics and what have you. They all have a massive impact. And as I said, even things like new fuels, you know, what does it mean? What fuel should you go for? What investments should you be making? So LISW, through the sort of 300 or 350 events that we were expecting during the week, and the headline conference, which should be held on the Wednesday at the IMO, major industry speakers that you don't hear and see at other conferences, but all debating these key issues. So we hope that the delegates and the visitors coming in will go away after LISW having learned a lot, and actually be able to use that to actually maybe forge their strategies moving forward. So it is about managing the winds of change.
Maritime companies are struggling with how to communicate their sustainability and innovation efforts effectively. What are the biggest communication mistakes you see companies are making, and how should they be positioning themselves?
I think, you know, walking around North Shipping here is amazing. You know, there's a lot of innovation going on. I mean, there's this lovely autonomous sort of billboard going around, and there's drones and all this sort of stuff. And there's a lot of great work being done there in the industry. And I think the one probably area that companies could really look at is actually getting all of that great stuff they're doing and how to package it and push it out into the media, into an area that's going to be of interest to the media and into the market. because the market needs to know what they're doing. It's not just a sales pitch, it's actually the innovation, how they're pushing boundaries, why they're doing it, what the implications are. Because shipping now, whether it's the charterers or the owners, and it all falls down this great food chain, they all drive in for value at the bottom line. You need value. And innovation, AI, digitalization, competency within your crew, the way you operate and manage your ships, all of that is driving into bottom line efficiency. What fuels you use, how, and when you're starting looking at all of these savings, you're then able to then look at your fleets and then say, right, we can now build, we can invest for the future. So I suppose there's a lot of good stories out there. It's about companies should be looking at how they can actually get that out into the market.
Through your recent interview series with maritime leaders, what common themes are emerging? What are industry leaders most concerned about right now and might not be getting enough attention?
I think really what we've been talking about, things like the fuel transition, is something that's very, very interesting. I'm hearing it yesterday at the conferences here. And I think the one area that is not going to be one size fits all. You're going to have different fuels for different types of trades. Shipping needs certainty. They need to know what's going to happen, and there's a lot of uncertainty around at the moment. So when you talk to them, you've got some great brains here in the industry in our London interviews. They're on the LISW website, talking about these issues, talking about geopolitics, talking about innovation and digitalization and how it's going to be changing the industry. But again, it's part of that narrative, and but the industry is concerned about these. It wants to make sure it gets it right because it's so fast changing.
Yeah, I saw a couple of these podcast interviews, amazing stuff. I can only recommend them to our audience to have a look. It's published on YouTube and easy to find. Just search for the London International Shipping Week series. Yeah,
absolutely, because what we're doing differently again this year for LISW, we've got our London interviews on podcast and also on video podcast as well. During the week as well, on the Monday and Tuesday at the Steel Yard, which is a lovely venue near Monument Station, we've got our live London talks, where leaders in the industry will have an hour lecture, okay? Hard-hitting, blue sky thinking lecture on key issues in front of an audience. Now, the audience can register, come along, it's for free, but you're going to be getting high-level, blue sky thinking, discussion, debate going on. And we've got 8 of those over the 2 days. And that sort of stuff is really, really important because it is about the finer brains looking and planting seeds of inquiry into our brains to say, look, is that how the market is going to change? And if it does, what am I going to do about it? What do I need to do about it? What is my peer group doing? What's my industry doing? And what will the implications be? Again, understanding the narrative. So those London talks are going to be great. I'd highly recommend people to go online to listen to them, but also come on the Monday and Tuesday, go onto the website and book. But they're going to be amazing. It's face-to-face. First time we've ever done that.
Yeah, excellent.
And can I just say thank you to North Standard for getting involved in that as well. They were sort of at the heart of that as well. So and they'll have a lot of interesting things to say as well during the time. But they're going to be great debates.
Yeah, excellent. I think it's super important now in times of AI to have this first-hand statement by industry leaders themselves as interviews. How do you see London's position as a global maritime center evolving, especially post-Brexit and with increasing competition from other maritime hubs? What role does the London International Shipping Week play in maintaining London's relevance?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the clusters, shipping is all about clusters, and they all rely on each other. Singapore can't exist without London, London can't exist without Hamburg and Oslo and all the rest of it. Everybody relies on each other. London is a major maritime financial services centre. It's number 1 in the world. You've got the lawyers, the arbitrators, you've got the Lloyd's Insurance, you've got the IMO there. You've got all of the trade associations that are based in London and what have you. And this is really why government involvement in LISW is really important. We've got 13 government departments getting involved. There's a lot of political decisions that are being made. We're reading about it in the media, not only related to London and the non-dom situation, but also here in Norway. Norwegian government has been come under criticism for not being as open as it should be to shipping as well. And I think really it is about governments understanding the value of the clusters as well and of the maritime industry. So London plays a pivotal role. It's got to continue to work hard at that. An entity like LISW serves that because it brings the market in, brings the industry in, and brings in opportunities for investment. And the UK's got a lot of great opportunities there, and they've just got to take advantage of that during LISW itself. And that also comes down to governments as well.
Excellent. You've expanded elaborate communications into multimedia and digital formats. How is digital transformation changing not just how we communicate in maritime, but what messages resonate with industry stakeholders?
It's funny when you look at digitalization and we have it in our lives all the time, and it's coming in, as I said earlier, in the media industry. Massive benefits, but also it intensifies competition, okay, for all of us, because we're not competing with the company in the next town. We're competing with somebody in Singapore, we're competing with somebody in Shanghai, in India, or whatever. So it's bringing the world closer in together. And digitalization is very, very important. People want news immediately. They want news commentary, things like you're doing here with the interviews today, or podcasts. People love it. Get that information, bang, when I want it, and then move on from that as well. So digitalization is playing a key role. AI is playing a very, very important role as well. However, you still need the context, putting it into context. And you sometimes see material coming out with ChatGPT or whatever, and you can spot it a mile away because it lacks nuance, it lacks passion, it lacks understanding, it lacks all that side of it. And that's what good media relations is all about. It's about getting that crafted message out into the marketplace and putting it in a way that is all about understanding the implications. So it is about the narrative, and it is about putting it all into context. But digitalization is there to help and make life easier, but it is going to be intensifying competition within companies and also within the media side as well, because news is very instant now.
The maritime industry faces challenges attracting younger talent. How should maritime communications evolve to engage the next generation to maritime professionals?
Look, I set up Elaborate 23 years ago, and I always said, I made a promise to myself that I would employ experts in their field and teach them about shipping. And I've always said that, once they come in, they'll never leave shipping, and because it's an amazing industry, absolutely amazing industry, but it's very fragmented. You've got all different elements, all doing their own different thing as well. And we've got to actually turn around and we've got to look to the youth. We've got to look right the way across all areas of diversification as well. We've got to get people into our industry. We've got to sell its strengths. It's an amazing industry. So we've got to actually go out there and actually get people to understand that this is a career choice that they could be making and really, really enjoy working within the industry. But it's got to be right the way across the board. We mustn't see anything of colour, creed, gender. It's all about attracting people in. It's about making the industry so attractive that people want to come in and want to benefit from it. Shipping will benefit as a result of that. The communication side, wow, you get travel, you meet amazing people, you're covering all different areas like trade, politics, lifestyle, people. It's amazing. And you forge great friendships and great relationships. So I would absolutely recommend anybody to come into shipping, and certainly on the media side, now that it's changing and it's getting even more exciting as well. So we're moving away from the old typewriters to massive amounts of multimedia. So that's got to be really encouraging.
For maritime professionals listening who want to improve their company's communications and industry presence, what's the one concrete step they should take right now?
I think it's understanding your market, who your audience is, and what do you want to be telling them. I always say to sponsors or advertisers or whatever, if I put you on the stage of the Albert Hall for 5 minutes for that cost, and I had 8,000 of your customers sitting there in front of you, would you think it's worthwhile with that 5-minute, 10-minute pitch to them? And of course it is, because that's their audience. So it's all about understanding your audience and understanding that narrative that you need to get out there into that marketplace. And then once you've got that, there are a lot of routes to market on that. Talk to PR companies. The return on investment with PR is very high. There's some excellent PR companies out there in the marketplace, including our own, of course, but there's some amazing companies out there all doing the same thing. And it's all about, we just want this industry to be shouting from the rooftops how good it is, what it's doing on decarbonisation. Shipping might be 3% of global greenhouse gases, but it's carrying 90% of global trade. And if you put those 25,000 TEUs from a big container ship on a truck from Japan to Europe, the carbon footprint would be massive. So shipping is doing a great job, but it's not telling enough people about what it's doing. So that would be the message I'd say, really get that narrative, understand your market, and get those messages out there.
Sean, thank you so much. That was great insight, and thanks for taking the time for this interview. Highly appreciate that.
Joachim, lovely to see you and speak to you as always, and I look forward to seeing you in London.
Thank you very much. We'll see you there.
Thank you.